reason we started Viasat, I think, was more to create the kind of company that we wanted to work at than it was to create a particular product.
I like the idea of being able to do what we thought was right. You don't really have to sell it to anybody else, you just go ahead and do it.
It's been a wild ride. It's been 30 years of constant surprises, lots of fun.
Viasat's culture is to work hard and to play hard.
To me, it's a lot of what tech companies claim that they have, you know, all laid back and we're cool and everything, and we actually, we do it better. Right? So we actually do have that environment, that atmosphere.
It's about what it feels like to work at Viasat.
You can relax, you can have a conversation, whether you're playing bocce, whether you're playing horseshoes, whether you're on a putting green. Oh man. Collaboration occurs in many different venues, not just in an office.
It feels different at Viasat, and it feels different because of our culture.
It's our vision.
We knew we were good at satellite communications and systems. The question was, how are we going to figure out some way to turn it into a company?
The most exciting part was when we first got an office. That's when it really started to feel like it was real.
If it was someone's birthday or a special event, we'd all go out to lunch and we'd put one of those yellow sticky notes on the door saying, Viasat's closed, sorry.
Early days of Viasat, we were growing so fast. We were tackling really tough problems, and we had great people.
It's pretty remarkable when you think about where we are and where we came from.
We're disrupting.
The VM100 and VM200 was a UHF satellite communications modem that we built under SBIR contract. And what was really neat about that is we came up with a disruption in the UHF satellite communications market long before Clayton Christensen wrote his book on the topic, The Innovator's Dilemma.
What was really amazing was that we could make things work for that little money. That got people's attention.
We're making a difference.
In the late 90s, early 2000s, MIDS LVT was one of Viasat's biggest business areas.
I think we got $5 million to make a MIDS LVT compared to maybe $500 million that the incumbents had.
The battlefield is an extraordinarily confusing and complex place. The Link 16 network was probably the first opportunity to take a lot of that confusion out of the equation.
Today, if you don't have Link 16 in your platform, you're not engaged in the first day of the war. So Viasat has enabled incredible capability.
While all the MIDS products were rolling along, Viasat was working on what we could do to address the concern of folks that wanted that information but couldn't afford to have such a big radio on board. Absolutely unequivocally, the BATSD handheld Link 16 is a game changer on the battlefield.
We are revolutionizing.
Our focus from day one was to build product and to be able to apply that product both on the government and the commercial side.
We started off by making network encryption devices. In fact, we had this idea in one of our earliest products to add internet protocol into an actual standard crypto.
And in about 2004, we launched SIAM, and it's really what's driven the business for probably, a decade since then. Once we had it, customers started coming out of the woodwork.
It's basically all about trust. Can you trust what's in the box? Can you trust the software that runs on the box? And can you trust the system that's using these things?
We are in space.
People were always coming to ground companies and they'd say, we need more bandwidth, we need more efficiency, we need lower prices, higher speeds. And one things we'd look at and say, well, the reason all that's hard is because the satellite's not very good,
And we realized that the next innovation had to be in space.
We spent 15 years building ground equipment for crappy satellites, so we just decided to actually build our own really good one.
Nobody really wanted to make the kind of satellite that would solve all these problems, so we took the opportunity and did it.
I still remember it pretty vividly. Mark comes into my office and bluntly just says, Kevin, I want to build a satellite. So I said, is there a book I can buy or an article I can read about how to do this? And he said, unfortunately, there's no satellite for dummies.
I'll never forget the day that we announced it in January, and the stock plummeted, and people in the marketplace said, why are you doing this? You are not a satellite company. We're constantly bringing out something that people think is magical or mythical or can't be done.
That's probably one of the most exciting things you can do in a business today is have your business rest on the back of a rocket.
The things that we do in space are things that the other satellite companies haven't figured out necessarily how to do, and would prefer we didn't because it puts a lot of pressure on them.
In some sense, by us doing it ourselves, we seized our own destiny.
Once we launched Viasat 1, we were really able to open up all these doors to all kinds of new avenues.
The good thing that kept it doable was this vision that after it was done, we would have more satellite bandwidth to more people than anyone else in the world.
We are sky high.
When Viasat 1 came along, we just grew up. You know, all of a sudden we had all these new programs, and then we sort of found our way into aviation. The connection by Boeing was really the first contract we had. Kind of been chasing airplanes ever since.
Yeah, the in-flight market is a fantastic market for us. I think everybody's going to want the internet when they're in the air that they get on the ground. Right now, we're the only guys in the world that can provide that.
The cool things about it is everybody understands it. It's internet on a flight.
Just because you're on an airplane, you're not changing your perception of what the internet should be.
And the reason we can do that is basically because we've got this mounds and mounds of capacity.
The best sales tool is like, go fly JetBlue and watch a Netflix video.
We've just moved in such huge leaps and bounds.
It's really cool to work on a product which gives you internet connectivity in aircraft with such high bandwidth.
The people want to be connected, and we're the best guys at doing that.
We're keeping people safe.
We're doing things that materially change the way our government and military conducts operations.
ISR really, it's about intelligence, but it's grown to more than that. It's grown to providing our leadership with the ability to make informed decisions.
From a defense perspective, one of the ways that we're effective as a country is we have lots of information.
We were able to use ISR to be able to track and find these locations where IED devices had been installed and literally go in there and defuse those things or blow them up without having any of our soldiers get hurt.
It's exciting to see soldiers say thank you when they are using a Viasat capability that has saved a life.
We are problem solving.
Global mobile broadband is probably our fastest growing business area in the government sector right now.
When events happen in the world, leaders need to be made aware of them, and they need to be able to make decisions in an almost immediate way. Our in-flight broadband capability enables them to see live ISR video feeds coming from the battle space. It allows them to essentially have a situation room or an office in the sky, and it improves our ability as a nation to be responsive to world events.
We're fearless. We're doing some really cool stuff here.
We try to continue that fearless mantra into what we're doing today with building complete ground systems and building satellites. That's really part of the Viasat culture.
All of our engineering capabilities come together at one point, and then we get an opportunity to build those cool things out back. This is the area where we tie all of those things together and prove to our customers that we can meet their requirements.
Every step along the way, for someone that said, well, you can't do that, you've never done that before. I don't think there's anything we can't do.
In my 34 years, I don't think I've ever seen as much innovation as I'm seeing today.
We are pushing the limits.
Corporate-wide, there's a huge amount of dedication by the employee base at large. Here in Denver, it's very focused on making sure that especially the residential subscribers are getting the best possible service.
This office provides internet service to almost 700,000 consumers across the U.S. It's no small operation. The network of individuals involved in our service covers every small town in America.
What separates us from the rest is we have the ability to provide a lot more capacity at a lower cost than the others do.
We stand in the satellite industry, but really, our real industry is the internet industry, and the more our service becomes mainstream, the more we stand as a voice and a force in that industry. We'll keep pushing the envelope and continue to improve it.
We are connecting the outback.
Today, we're an innovative technology company.
The country of Australia is doing something that no other country in the world has really done. They have made a commitment to bring high-speed internet to every single home in Australia. Viasat won the contract to help build the antenna systems at 10 different gateways, largest program in the history of the company. This NBN program brought Viasat together in ways that we haven't done before. People are so excited in the Outback to have high-speed internet.
We are adapting. Internet and Wi-Fi specifically is how people spend most of their days now. We're always trying to think of what's the solution 5 years from now, 10 years from now. We're trying to stay ahead of that curve and create new markets for us to enter into.
We are starting to deploy and manage our own Wi-Fi networks all over the globe. We're looking for better ways for people to connect to networks so that your Wi-Fi connection is more seamless.
I think over the next 5 years we're going to see a lot more personalization of networks. Certainly the networks that we manage, we're going to try to provide a more rich experience for the user.
The future is very bright for our service area.
We are accelerating.
You really have to have it kind of built into your philosophy that you're going to just stay on the edge. You know, in some ways you could say that the wooden leg of a satellite network is latency. And how do we address this wooden leg?
So not even 10 years ago, you could probably go onto a satellite network, load a page, and have to go make a coffee before you came back and it was loaded.
The only reason that you can surf the web on Exceed is because of the embedded accelerator that's in the modem.
The most interesting step we took was when we started to use learning techniques, where you'd kind of say, hey, we've been here before, and based on that, what can I do better?
This is cool stuff.
We're in the clouds.
The network virtualization we are building now is essentially taking things that used to run on big metal hardware and converting it to software that runs in the cloud. You can actually use our platform and extend it to beyond satellite, to cell phones, to Wi-Fi, to whatever have you. And that's really powerful.
So what we are doing is pretty much transforming the way we do networking at Viasat, and we're ushering it into the next era. We bring in the cloud, and the whole thing is turned upside down.
Our motto was providing practical solutions to difficult communications problems. We still do it today.
We're changing the game.
If you take a look at what we're doing on Viasat 2, Viasat 3, this is all really cool and difficult stuff.
Viasat 2 is kind of the next big leap in capacity and capability for satellites. It'll probably have double the capacity of Viasat 1.
Then you've got Viasat 3, and it's 4 to 5 times the bandwidth efficiency of Viasat 2. These are unheard of bandwidth economics in the industry.
What Viasat's doing with their quote-unquote mythical beast, it's hard to believe that we're achieving the kinds of speeds that we are.
Now we're moving to building 4,000-pound payloads that will power the future Viasat constellation.
We had the notion that it was going to change not just Viasat's satellite SATCOM business, but change the whole industry.
It's further expanding our capabilities and our expertise in terms of the design and engineering and construction of satellites.
When you're in engineering, you talk a lot about like, well, this isn't rocket science. Well, this is rocket science. We're rocket science internet engineers, which is kind of a cool thing to do.
The other big part of it is vastly expanding our footprint. Viasat 3 takes that global.
30 years ago, I never saw us building satellites and launching satellites, but it's been really fun.
We are going global.
It's the beginning of the great future for Viasat in terms of being a key global broadband internet provider.
We started Viasat India to become an engineering center of excellence for Viasat globally and to help us drive more innovation in our markets.
With this global reach, you can bring education to places where it doesn't exist, telehealth to places where it doesn't exist, social interaction between families and friends in areas that don't have that opportunity today.
It will enable an unimaginable amount of good worldwide.
There is a lot of analysis in terms of the connection between availability of broadband and GDP of the country, and there's a clear connection. So we believe what we are doing is really contributing to the GDP of the world.
The internet's been very, very powerful. Being connected is an extremely important thing.
There are all kinds of capabilities that we can enable with these satellites that we probably haven't even thought of yet.
We can't just stand still. There's not a single endpoint here. It's a matter of continuing to evolve, continuing to grow, continuing to improve.
It's a constant challenge of, are we doing the right thing? Are there other opportunities? Who can disrupt us and who can we disrupt?
It's just kind of astounding to see how fast we're moving and more importantly, how fast we're accelerating the pace of innovation.
Applications that you can run over the satellite with high capacity are evolving so quickly that we can't even envision what they're going to be like 5 or 10 years from now.
We're just getting started in terms of the things that we're going to do that are technically cool. The most exciting things are yet to be done.
Marker. Action. Cut. You just cut? Cut.
No, I said I got it.
Oh, we need to be coordinated. Yeah, you have to tell us.
All right, I'll do it.
Do a count.
We are fun.
Better make me look good, man. I'm thinking George Clooney.
My eyebrows okay? They feel a little crooked.
Viasat's a great place to work.